We're in the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia for Trucks and Tractor Power here on the Nashville Network. I'm Gary Lee, and Rich Hooser, this two-wheel drive class may offer the most diversification.
That's true, Gary. This is probably one of the most unique classes in pulling. You'll see a lot of different vehicles here. There'll be funny cars, pickup trucks, homemade vehicles, and even a Model T Roadster.
The one thing they have in common, though, is weight distribution.
That's true, and it's these weights right here that you'll see. They'll be moving these weights from the front of the vehicle or the rear of the vehicle, depending on how the track condition is.
Are you that strong, or is this a dummy weight?
Well,
Fulton County Stadium, home of the Atlanta Braves, and a tribute to Hammerin' Hank Aaron. And about 5 miles away is the Omni, and inside the Omni today, super modified two-wheel drive trucks. And first up is Ken Lamont out of Crossville, Illinois, in the 1988 El Camino. It's the Midnight Express. This will be a test run.
right, now I'll explain that test run. What happens here is the first vehicle in the class gets the chance of either taking that run or turning it down. But the sled operator, who is Rod Hickson, he will also decide whether or not he's got enough weight on that sled or not, and we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. Looks like a pretty easy run.
Well, a full pull, 180 feet, and I would guess that they might want to add some weight.
I do believe they will here. Hickson will figure that out. They will talk to the officials, and if they do, if they have to add more weight, Kenny will have to come back and run later on in the class or turn around and run right away.
But that would be his decision. Now, the full pull, 180 feet, the decision has been made to add some more weight. A local hero, a local favorite is Mike Stowe. He will be the fourth to pull. He's with Rich Hooser.
Okay, Gary, I'm with Mike Stowe with the Bad Dog. Now, Mike, what's this track condition doing out here tonight?
Well, when the four-wheel drives ran, it looked like it was coming apart pretty good, but Kenny made a test pass there, the first guy in the two-wheel class. Looked like it stayed together pretty good, but we'll have to get a couple of runs on it to really tell, but my guess is it's going to come apart.
Okay, you going to do anything different to your vehicle while you watch a couple more run?
Sure, we'll watch them and adjust our weights, our front-end weights accordingly. If we think it's bad, we'll move a weight to the back. If we think it's better, we'll move more weight to the front.
Okay, you got a little more pressure on you here, too, because you're a hometown boy, right?
Yeah, it's tough to win at home, too. You know that.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you, Rich.
Jim Lyons in stitches, the 1989 GMC, will now become the test puller out of Louisville, Kentucky. Now, once again, they have added some weight to the sled.
And, of course, Jim Lyons here being a test puller, he has a very unique style of driving. Watch him when he hits about 50 feet, he will put that throttle wide open.
This is two-wheel drive, super modified truck pulling from the Omni in Atlanta. Now, does this indicate he needs more weight on the front end?
He is a little bit light on the front end. He could have used an extra couple, 50 pounds, maybe 100 pounds. It all depends. But a good run all the same.
174.31. Now, if he wants to, he can keep this pull or come back and pull again since he's the test puller.
Right, we'll find out in a little bit if he's decided whether or not he wants to keep it. Being early in the class sometimes is an advantage. And if I know Lyons, I think he'll keep this run.
Well, that run was good for 174.31, but we understand now there may be a problem with Ken Lamont's ride.
Gary, we're not going to see Kenny Lamont run again tonight since they did reweight the sled after his pull. He should have returned, but he twisted off an oil pump shaft on his motor, and he's not able to come back.
The track is prepared between each run. Let's go back trackside to Army Armstrong.
Fellas, we got kind of a unique situation here. Jim Lyons, one of the big guns in the class, made a run. He's got to come back and run again. I don't believe he's going to be able to. We noticed at the completion of the run he just made, two things happen. Number one, the throttle hung wide open. Number two, he lost the cylinder on the left rear of the engine, dropped the valve on it. So Jim Lyons, one of the big guns in this class, is not going to be in competition tonight. Bad news for Lyons, but believe me, that's good news for everybody else in this class.
Well, Army, that means that Jim Lyons will have to stand on his pull of 174.31. That brings up the Irish Challenger, a 1986 Ford F-150 from the state of Wisconsin. This is 30-year-old Dan Walsh.
Well, Dan's pretty good at this. Him and his brother are into pulling, and they also have a tractor that they pull with.
And something amiss in that Ford power plant. A very short pull of 118.35. Not a good pull for the Irish Challenger.
He's definitely got some problems down here, Gary. I see some oil coming out from underneath the vehicle. I think he might have thrown a rod. We're not really sure yet.
Rich, let's find out. Let's go to Army Armstrong with Dan Walsh.
118.35, but it went away on you in a hurry.
No, what I did, I lost the motor. I stuck a rod outside.
You definitely kicked a rod out?
Sure did.
What does something like that cost?
8 to 10 grand.
An expensive afternoon here in the Omni. You heard him say $8,000 to $10,000 to repair that power plant as we take a look at Mike Stowe, the hometown favorite in Bad Dog, the Ford with 575 cubic inches. As you heard him tell Army earlier, the pressure is on when you're a hometown favorite. The distance to beat was the test pull of 174.31. Look at this. A full pull for Mike Stowe.
He did an excellent job, Gary. It looked like he might have been a little light on the front end, but he had plenty of horsepower to keep them rear tires down in the ground and getting good traction. Now look at it here. You can see how high that front end is up in the air right now. It should not be that high in the way he's bouncing, but the horsepower in that Ford just pulled him down to the end.
Well, the fans like what they saw there from Mike Stowe's full pull. Here's Army.
Mike Stowe, it looks like you've been playing in dirt like this your whole life to lay down a run like that.
Boy, I hope that intimidated the hell out of him. That was a great pass.
It looked awfully good. The weight seemed to be perfect on it, but you know everybody was watching you. They're going to try the same thing.
Yeah, but everybody's got these little weights in it, and nobody knows what's in them, and we'll find out if everybody knows what's in mine in a little bit.
Oh, surely they wouldn't use a dummy weight. Well, we'll find out as Mike Stowe has the full pull. Jim Lyons, the test pull with stitches at 174.3, and Dan Walsh, the Irish Challenger, 118.3. We have more pulling coming up from the Omni in Atlanta. Stay with us. And here comes Spike. This is Bill Humphrey from Hanover, Ohio, the 1989 S10 pickup.
And Gary, there's going to be two drivers that's going to be watching this run real close. That's the Sundance Kid with Rick Carpenter and Jack Daniels with Mark Hare, because all three of these trucks are almost identical.
Well, of course, that's one advantage to going later in the pull sequence. Have a chance to check out those that go before and perhaps readjust the weights. The distance to beat again is that full pull. Comes up a bit short, 167.11. 167.11 for Spike, so that will certainly take him out of the top three in pulling here at the Omni.
Now, Gary, he did a fine job, but he just didn't get the horsepower transfer to the rear wheels soon enough. Now, if he would have got it sooner, he would have got the front end up a little bit higher at the beginning, and that caused him to have that short distance. Let's go down to Army.
Bill, everything looks good. We know that we were watching two things in that run. You make the run down the middle of the track, and Ray Carpenter, as soon as you started running down the track, he immediately goes over to your team truck and starts making adjustments. Number one, are you satisfied with your run? Number two, what was Carpenter doing?
Well, first of all, it didn't feel good. I don't know really how it looked. It's hard to tell how it looked from the seat, but it didn't really feel good. It didn't build a lot of speed. As far as what we're going to change, I've watched a few more, and then I'll tell you.
You will go back and do something different, though.
I guarantee you.
Well, the next we'll watch is certainly a crowd favorite, a 1923 Ford Model T out of Dublin, Ohio. This is 59-year-old Wayne Rausch, and he says pulling is his job, his business, and his life.
Wayne has been around pulling for many years now, and he does an excellent job, and he's always very friendly and always willing to lend a helping hand to the other pullers.
Well, once again, he will be shooting for a full pull, and he will need that length to have a shot during a pull-off.
He's looking pretty good down here, Gary. I think he might have a full pull.
He looks back over his left shoulder, and yes, I think, yes, it is a full pull. And that means right now we'll have to have a pull-off because Mike Stowe went the distance, and now Wayne Rausch out of Dublin, Ohio with his full pull.
Now, as you see right at the beginning there, he had all kinds of traction. But look, he starts to come to the left side of the track a little bit, so he's got to tap that right brake. But he still has enough momentum from the very beginning to make it through the end.
We're watching a little history in Atlanta. That being two good friends are going into a pull-off, but it's going to be on the 1,000th pull. We understand that was your 999th pull, but that puts you only good enough to go against your own nemesis, Mike Stowe, in that Bad Dog Ford.
Right, that's 999 pulls in a two-wheel drive truck. I had a few in the Mini modified before that.
You beat Stowe tonight, boy. He seems to be holding a hot hand. He's looking good.
Oh, I'd love to beat him. That, you know, Mike's a real competitor, and that makes it great.
We'll see you in that pull-off. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Next up is Jim Brockman. Before he climbed aboard this 1908 panel, we had a chance to check with him about his strategy.
A lot of these guys have been changing their weights around. I see you change a few. Now, you're looking at your position out there. What are you going to do out there?
We're going to try to split his tracks to the left-hand side and get on down there about half track and hammer on it and beat that sucker. I think we can do it as long as we can take off gently, get in the middle of the track, and drift over to the left.
So that's racing terminology. Beat that sucker. Here he is, Jim Brockman from New Haven, Indiana, a 1908 panel. This is a home-built job sponsored by Kodiak, but he will need a full pull to get into the pull-off. And he comes up short. Oh, a few feet short, about 6 feet. In fact, 174.41. So his day is done.
Gary just didn't start off in the right part of the track there. He was getting too much traction at the beginning. He thought maybe he would get good traction, but he got too much. And he brought the front end up in the air, and he lost it towards the end.
Jim, you're one of the guys everybody was worried about out there. What happened? The last 10 feet, this looked awfully tough.
Yeah, the Army, what we did, I tried to keep it in the center, but the doggone thing wanted to go over to the left-hand side of the track there a little bit, and I thought about using a brake, but she was tugging on me pretty hard, and I said, man, we just better not use up any more power than we have to, so I just left her go, and unfortunately, it was a mistake because we got into some soft stuff, and that's the end of that.
And there's the bandana covering the mouth of the Sundance Kid. This is Rick Carpenter out of Bettendorf, Iowa, a teammate to Bill Humphrey. So let's see what he learned from the run of Spike.
And, of course, what he does, whether it be right or wrong, Gary, Mark Hare is still behind him in the Jack Daniels truck to possibly come out and do a little bit that each of them have done, either add more weight or take some off of the front end, whatever the case may be.
So each of these competitors are watching very, very carefully to see what the other guys do. And when they're teammates, they certainly try to work together. Again, he will need a full pull. And ever so close, the 88 S10 pickup truck, the Sundance Kid. Look at that, missed by just over 2 feet.
Gary, he did a great job, but he was sliding, I think, just a little too much at the starting line. It was a little slick for him, and he was spinning and not getting enough traction. But he made up for it halfway down the track, and he came very close to the end, but not quite good enough.
Rick Carpenter, 177, young man, third place. Not bad in a rookie year.
No. Well, Army, we're not going to let them rip our throats out here. I think this year TNT fans will come out and see the polls. With tough competition in these two-wheel drives, they got to, I want them to buy their tickets early and sit on the edge of the seat because it's going to get hot.
It definitely looks good for 1990. We're impressed with you. It's my first opportunity to see you. Your crew chief, Pat Connors, he told me he had a good driver. Your brother, he believes in you. Hey, this could be the start of something big. Good luck to you.
You bet. Thanks a lot, Army. Appreciate it.
3 team trucks now in this organization. This is the third, the Jack Daniels out of Springfield, Ohio. This is Mark Hare. It's a 1988 S10. Let's see what he has learned from his teammates. And Mark will not likely be happy with this run. Very, very short. 164.94. Where'd he go wrong, Rich?
It's hard to say. We're going to watch here on the replay. He looks a little heavy in the front end at the beginning, but look how high he gets up there halfway down the track. It's actually too light. So what is happening, that pivot point, he gets down, and actually the rear tires will come off the ground because of the wheelie bars that are on the back of the vehicle.
Well, there are a couple of youngsters protecting their ears. It gets very, very noisy inside the Omni here in Atlanta. And now we look at John Hileman out of Rockford, Ohio in Gold Thunder, the funny car, a 1988 Thunderbird. And John will come up short. He's about 14 feet short, 166.63. That means we will have a pull-off. It will be between Mike Stowe in the Bad Dog Ford and Wayne Rausch in the 23 Model T.
And of course, Mike Stowe being the hometown favorite here, he might have a slight advantage, but the pressure's on him also, Gary, but he's really excited. His truck's been doing very good tonight.
Now, how much weight has been added to the sled?
Well, Gary, they've added either 4,000 to 5,000 pounds to it when they go to this pull-off because since both people made the full pull, they don't want them to do it again, so they add more weight to it to bring him down. So neither one of them will get a full pull on this one.
And Mike Stowe, well short of a full pull. We measure him at 161.81. So now all he can do is wait to see what Wayne Rausch can do. Another look at this pull of 161.81.
And he did a great job. It's actually a good pull considering being in a pull-off. He stays nice and straight right down the middle of the track. He didn't have to touch a brake.
Mike, that's your shot. Is it going to be good enough?
Well, we'll see in a minute, won't we? A little one-on-one fast break.
One-on-one maybe, but I don't think I'd call this a fast break. Up next, the yellow T of Wayne Rausch. Let's see what Wayne's strategy is going to be after watching his buddies run.
We moved a little weight back. We're going to try to get the nose up a little more than Mikey did. Other than that, we've moved some weight to the left to try to get it to go straight and just try to drive it out of the hole properly.
All right, he's waiting for his signal to begin his pull-off. Applies the power and the distance to beat 161.81.
And he gets it!
He got it by about 5 feet. Yes, indeed. 166.88. A look at Mike Stowe. He knows that his buddy from Ohio has just won. Wayne Rausch takes the victory here in the Omni.
Gary, if I had to say what won this, I would say it was nothing but experience. This man has been around so long, he knows what to do, and he knows how to drive that vehicle. An excellent job.
59-year-old Wayne Rausch, 166.88. He takes the victory. A handshake from Mike Stowe, who finishes second. This was his 1,000th pull in this two-wheel super modified class, and he takes the victory here in the Omni. A big wave to all the fans. He puts the hat on, and Army Armstrong moves into position to talk to our winner.
Wayne Rausch, school is out in Atlanta, son. I believe you taught him all a lesson tonight.
Well, I hate to beat Mikey in his hometown, but boy, it felt good.
So once again, Wayne Rausch, the full pull, then the pull-off at 166.88, and the yellow T takes the win. Mike Stowe in Bad Dog was second, and Rick Carpenter in the Sundance Kid, 177.92, took third. And I would have to guess, Rich Hooser, it was the selection of the weight distribution that won it for the veteran from Ohio.
Exactly. Weight distribution is everything on these two-wheel drive vehicles, and as we've seen tonight, everybody in the pit area was changing weights constantly from the front to the rear, and you can see his box there. His are all covered up, so nobody knew what he had.
Well, that 23 Model T is a real crowd pleaser. Our congratulations to Wayne Rausch and a nod from his buddy in second place, Mike Stowe. For Rich Hooser and Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week on Trucks and Tractor Power.